So today we're going to talk about which entity is best for new and experienced real estate wholesalers. And I got to tell you, this is a really important topic that not a lot of people talk about. But if you're going to be in business for any length of time, you must operate in an entity. What is an entity? An entity is basically a company, right? It's an LLC, it's a corporation, it's an entity that shields you from liability. So in general, some people say, hey, you have to form some kind of limited liability company. Now, I don't want to scare you. Business is fun and you could make a crap ton of money. And I want you to make a crap ton of money. Okay. But crap happens, right? If you drive in a car, right, you want insurance because you can get a car in a car accident. And so you buy insurance so that in the case that something ever happened to you, got an accident, your insurance will cover you. And so in the business world, of course, there is business insurance, but I always look at an entity as insurance, and it is going to be really, really important. So number one, you want a company for two reasons. Number one is that people are going to take you more seriously if you have a company. You're going to appear just a little bit more professional. Number two, you're going to find that you might have some tax benefits. And three is that you're going to find yourself that it is another layer to protect yourself from liability. Now, let me make a disclaimer. Number one, I am not a tax expert and I am not a lawyer, right? So I recommend that number one, run this by your CPA or your tax person, right? And then also run this by your lawyer. But I'm going to share with you my experience and my views. And again, this is not to be taken as legal advice. This is for your entertainment purposes only and a guide for you then to go look and do your own homework and make your decision. But my recommendation is that you absolutely need one. I used to tell people, hey, you know what? Go out and do your first deal and, go out and do your first deal and then go get an entity. And, that was a mistake, right? Because you want to do things the right way from the beginning. It's so easy to go out and get an entity now and then. I think it's one of the first steps that you should take when you decide to start your business. Get your entity, make it happen, set it up, right? And protect yourself the right way. Okay. Doing business liability is not something to be feared, but it's not to be ignored. So just do it the right way. So I'm going to talk about today the three kinds of entities that normally people talk about, right? There are others, but I'm going to talk about the three that most people talk about and the most common, and which one I would recommend for a real estate wholesaler. Now, for you, you may actually decide something else because of your situation and because of where you're at in your journey. And that's okay. That's why I'm going to share all three. So number one, I'm going to talk about the SCorp, right? The SCorp. An SCorp is a type of corporation. It's an entity that's going to give you limited liability if you do it the right way and it's set up the right way and you operate within the rules. And here's what I like. One thing about the S corporation, it's relatively easy to set up, right? The other thing though, is that there were some tax cuts that were put into place a few years ago by the Trump administration. And basically what the S Corp does is that it basically takes your profit for the year. Okay. And if you take a salary out of the company, it allows you to chop off basically 20% of your income, right? Basically take 20% of your income and basically give that to you as a deduction. What does that mean? Let's say your business made, I don't know, it netted $200,000, right? It netted $200,000. Basically, the government's going to let you say, hey, you know what? You netted $200,000. We're only going to tax you on $140,000. Right? It's basically 20% of that. So what did I say, 200? No, that'd be 40. So $160,000. Okay. So 160. And so basically you get a $40,000 tax deduction by just having an S Corp. That's pretty cool. There are some restrictions around that. So of course, talk to your CPA, but that's one of the things that I really, really, really like about an S Corp. And you can take advantage of things like that. One of the things that is required, usually just, you want to take a look at that, is you are required to take a salary, which is not that big of a deal, right? There are some cool things that you could do with some retirement accounts, but I'm not going to get too into that. But if you want to take advantage of those type of deductions, S Corp is great for you. Easy to set up. There is a little bit more maintenance that you have to do in annual meetings. Not that hard to do. The second, which is going to be my recommendation to most people listening to this, and that is the LLC. And by the way, I'm going to show you how to get these set up super easy at the end of this podcast. Okay, the LLC, it's the easiest, it's the most flexible, it requires the least amount of maintenance. And so if you want to do, if you just want the least headache, the easiest, the most flexible, the LLC is what I recommend to most people. Limited liability company. Okay. And so it requires the least amount of maintenance per year. And again, talk to your CPA, talk to your lawyer about all that. But if you want something like really, really easy, that's the way to go. All right. The last part that I'm going to talk about is the CCorp. And the CCorp is, I wasn't going to share this on this episode, but I just want to start getting you thinking at the next level. Okay. So a CCorp basically works where basically you can make your money. Okay. You make your money, and there's people do this for tax reasons, right? So with an SCorp or an LLC, the money that you make from your business automatically passes through to you and you're taxed on it. So if you make $200,000 on the business, right, in an LLC, basically you're taxed on 200. In the SCorp with these new deductions, right, all of that money passes through to you, so you'd pay that 200. Now, granted, with these new deductions that you have, you'd only get taxed on 160, but those pass to you, and then you get taxed your normal tax rate on that amount of money. Okay, so basically the money that you make in your business, besides that SCorp tax reduction I'm talking about, passes through to you. The beauty of the CCorp, okay, is that money, that corporate tax, okay, is taxed at 17%. Okay, well, what does that mean? Well, that means that you have to pay corporate tax of 17% on the money. So it's taxed at a much lower rate in that company. Now, why would you want that? Well, when you pull money out of the company, you are taxed at a normal rate. Okay, very, very important to realize here. You're taxed at a normal rate. But what you can do is you can leave that money in that CCorp. Okay, and that money is going to start to compound because you are taxed at a lower rate, right? You're only taxed at 17%. The corporation has to pay tax on the money only at 17%. And so that money can stay in there year after year after year after year after year. Now, this is at a spot maybe where you're earning way more than you need, right? You're earning way more than you need, and you've got the CCorp. And now that money, because you're only paying 17% instead of, let's say, 35 or 38, all of that money is growing. Now you're thinking, Todd, how can I, if I have to leave all my money in my company, right? Why would I ever have a CCorp? Well, here's what you would do is that any money that you pull out at that point, right, actually is taxed at the regular rate. Right. So if you pull money out, so you can take a salary out of the business. So let's say you decide to take $100,000 a year salary, you can take that money out, right? It's just going to be taxed at the regular rate. The key part about the CCorp, and a lot of big companies use this, is that money stays in there. You only pay the 17% and that money compounds. Now that's, over most people's heads, but it's something to think about. And it's something to think, hey, when I get enough money that I don't need to pull every cent out of my business, right? I'm going to take advantage of that, like Amazon, right? Or some really, really big company. And so that's how the big boys play. So my recommendation really is if you want to take care of some tax benefits, want something kind of easy, SCorp's the way to go. You can get some tax deductions. If you want something super easy, simple, flexible, LLC is the way to go. If you're really worried about taxes and you want to operate like the big boys one day, check out the CCorp, right? And that's only going to be, the top 1%. The first two is good for 99% of you. As you can see, I'm really, really partial to the SCorp and the LLC, but I'm going to give you a recommendation here. Okay. There is an awesome company that basically can take care of this for you with a snap of a finger. Okay. And we've actually partnered with Prime Corporate Services. If you want their best deal, okay, for my listeners, you can go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/LLC. Okay. nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/LLC. They can handle all of your entities, your setup. They can help advise you, right? So check that out, nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/LLC. okay? And they can help you out with that. If you have any questions, I would love to hear your feedback. Let me know if you want to check me out on the Wholesaling Inc. Facebook page. Go ahead to check me out, wholesalinginc.com/LLC. Let me know what kind of entity you use and why you like it. I always love to learn something new. Always love mindsets. Maybe your attorney said something that I can learn from. Anyway, I'll talk to you in the next episode, and I hope you crush it.